This meeting is being shown live on Channel 9 and is also being recorded and will be shown on Channel 9 throughout the week. It's also on the will be on the website as a YouTube video. Okay, let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're standing, I would like to mention the passing of Barbara Fonseca, a longtime Dayton resident, and I would request a moment of silence in her memory, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda is public input. Okay, nothing?
Nothing.
We'll come back to that if you think of anything. Okay, town administrator report.
Okay, good evening. I just have to report that the town has been awarded a grant through DLTA, which is Local Technical Assistance. This is how we get so much out of SERPID, all of our reports and all of that. So our amount is $15,000, and it is to assist with our open space and recreation plan, which we already knew about because this is part of our best practices. The other part of that plan is being funded through the state because of our community compact. And then this additional $5,000, because a lot of the data is similar for the housing production plan, they are combining these two, so we'll get an open space plan and a housing production plan. It'll be, our current plan expires in November, so it's due to be redone, and it will be with this grant. So thank you to SERPID for all of that, and carry on, I guess. All the work we've been sending.
Is it 15 in total or 15 plus 5?
25.
It's 15 in total, 10,000 of which, 15,000 that we're getting from DLTA to be combined with the 10,000 from the Community Compact Grant, for a total of 25.
Okay.
And it's a twofer, because we're getting both plans.
Now, who does the housing production plan? Is that planning or the 40B
It's actually,
committee?
both of these would
Okay.
fall under planning and the
Uh-huh.
master plan. They would then, receive them, make their comments, and add them to the master plan.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
you.
Yep, thank
Good
you,
work.
SERPID.
I should bring up something about, today we had a power outage here in Town Hall. We had actually half the power was coming in. So this morning we had to disconnect from the power from the street and we ran the generator all day. But earlier this morning was a bit confusing because we didn't have telephones, we didn't have, our internet was down, everything was down, so, but Mallory did a great job, got the right people involved, and we fixed the problem.
And I do know that people were trying to call. I'm sorry. Our phones are tied to the internet, so when we don't have the ability to join onto our internet, but we did find the issue, solved it, and then National Grid came and restored our power. So we're all back to normal. Call us tomorrow.
Okay, next item is the Selectmen's budget discussion. I'm trying to get the budget up on my computer here because I have a bunch of notes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So why don't we,
Can you get that to Selectman Goulart? Thank you. And then this one's for you.
why don't we start from the top? The first area that we're responsible for is, this is just the Selectmen's budget. We'll be with the whole budget here sometime in the next few weeks. So as far as the Selectmen's budget, the first thing is, let me see what I got a comment here somewhere.
Do you
First-
mean just the Board of Selectmen budget number 122, or the Board of Selectmen budgets that come under the purview of the board?
Budgets.
Okay,
So the first one is town meeting.
113, okay.
And the increases are, it's salary for the checkers, there's a 2% increase on all staff that we put in for this budget. So that will apply to any salary increase here, including details, the moderator. Okay? Any questions about that, or any thoughts
It
about that?
doesn't look like very much.
No, it isn't. 2% is not much for us.
It's under 100, looks like
about a little over $100
It's
total.
40.
for
Total.
Yeah,
everything.
right, it's 100 and, yeah, it's less than 100, you're right.
Mhm.
Okay, the next section is the Board of Selectmen budget, actually, our section of it,
Mhm.
which includes the stipends that we receive. And then we go down the first, anybody want to talk about that? Or,
Well, we made some we discussed
we-
major changes to this budget.
so we're going to go down through the major ones. And again, this is a draft, so we need discussion. The first one is just the 2% for the salary lines.
What
And-
about you skipped moderator? No change, oh, slight, wait a
The
minute.
2% increase for the moderator.
Okay, all right, fine.
So the first big change here is the procurement officer liaison. And we've zeroed this out because this is the TA's responsibility now. And that's one of the reasons why we have a town administrator.
What line is that?
That's the third one down.
It has a,
Third one down where it says Board of Selectmen, start 1, 2, 3 down.
you want to look at this, you can, but
Yeah, it's a little bit easier on the laptop.
it's this one right. No, it's not that one.
It's impossible to print these out, you know what I mean?
I've fought with this, but I'll
No,
get
this is
there.
good.
I'll get there next year.
It was a total request.
The added column that you have actually is annual town meeting votes.
Is it the 23,000 or the,
23,
The
yes,
23.
the 23.
So that line item, if we accept this, is, will decrease by 23,171.
will you be fully certified by then?
I will not be fully certified. I have one class coming up in 2 weeks, the end of March, and another contract administration course coming up the week after. It's just one day, though. But
in
I will not be
July
fully.
1?
July 1, no, I will not. It would be impossible. They don't hold the classes often enough for me to take all of
I
them.
think we need to go back and revisit this, because she would still be the liaison, because we won't have a certified procurement officer.
But you don't, my understanding is you don't need to have a certified procurement officer.
Well, that was the reason why the board sent her out for training, because the procurement officer is supposed to be the chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
The Board of Selectmen chair had no intention of taking training, and it was decided that they would have the title, but they wouldn't take the training, because they would have a liaison to do it and advise them. So they required her to be certified. Why would we not require certification before a person takes over?
Let me say a couple of things. Number one is certification is not a requirement of the procurement officer. The second thing is, one of the basis of financial controls is we have the accountant as the procurement person. And
No,
that-
liaison.
Well, she does the procurements. And that's a huge conflict because.
No, not as a liaison, because she advises the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and the board chairman makes the decision on whether or not that procurement advice would be followed.
I just don't think it's a good mix.
Now, the other thing
I
I will
have a
say, the other
suggestion.
reason why we have to go back and revisit this, because number one, the person holding this job should be part of this discussion, because promises were made to her by the board who required her to take the training. And if this board is going to negate that requirement, that discussion has to take
Well, yeah,
place.
let Mallory speak to that because we.
So
I just have one question, sorry, before you start. I didn't know of any promises. Is there a document there, so how do we know there were promises? I'm just confused.
I don't know about that. I do know that, I do know that she had, I've spoken with her
I mean,
about this. and-
I'm saying like a contract or something in writing.
So, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
However, my suggestion is to hold this item. I agree with you. I actually invited her when this was originally on the agenda. I did want her to be present.
Okay.
And just through a series of circumstances, it has been delayed until now. But we do need to get going on our own budgets. Before we get into, I was just thinking we could hold that line item, go through
Okay.
the rest of it and
Yeah,
revisit it. But I will say, she did provide me a copy of her job description as the procurement officer liaison. They are to offer guidance and advice to town departments, boards, and committees as requested to ensure uniform procedures for local governments are used when contracting for supplies, equipment, and services. The second item is to offer guidance and advice as requested on procurement issues such as advertising, quotes, bids, contracting, and capital purchases. And then this blanket, other requested assignments or projects as requested by the procurement officer, which would be the Board of Selectmen chairman, which is located here. These two items I do see under a chief procurement officer position, regardless of being certified or not. It is a fabulous idea for the town accountant in any town to be certified for procurement. That position serves as the check. It is very good for financial transparency and just health. These other two items, I feel that I have taken on already, just because in my mind, this is how it happens.
And didn't we already appointed you
As the chief procurement
Yeah,
officer,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that.
So, I do understand the impact this would have on our chief procurement liaison, and I fully do respect and appreciate
I don't remember that vote
that.
passing, because I know I opposed it, because I said it does not meet the requirements that were originally set down for the job that is being done. So I think we need to backtrack and look at that. The other thing I would say is if a reduction in this position is going to take place, this is a substantial salary cut. Is this person's hours going to be reduced also? Because they were increased to do this job.
I would think that they would be, but that's something
That's another
that-
reason why we need to meet and discuss it.
Yeah, what, I don't disagree with you at all. That was something we had talked about. I think we need to have her in on this discussion.
Yeah.
But
So
we'll just
if
put
we
it on the
hold
tape.
that item, continue with the rest of it, and then if you do, vote on the others, and then
Yep.
bring back that one when our chief procurement liaison can attend.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Just for the public's information, she's actually in training at UMass Amherst, that's why she's not here.
Okay, the next item is the salary for the administrative assistant, and the only thing we've done here is we've split it 50/50 with the
The town
town
administrator.
town administrator.
Yep.
There's really no change there. The 2% is included in that number. Okay. The next
Actually,
item,
we did go higher than 2%.
yes, oh, I'm sorry, yes, we did.
It's under town administrator, right?
Yeah, we did, we actually.
Yes,
We'll get
we
there.
split it in
No, no,
half.
well, we have to talk about it here. We recommended a 5% increase in this, but it's a non-union position, and, I think it's well-deserved.
I will second that motion.
Yeah. She also took on another boss, and she's
Amen.
really helped me transition, so thank you.
So,
Your reputation.
any other
precedes you,
comments
Mr.
about that? Yeah. Your position on that, or feelings?
Oh, I don't have any problem with that, that's long overdue.
Okay,
Agreed. Amen. We agree.
great, okay. So that's good. So the rest of them are just pretty straightforward until you get down to professional, technical. And what we did here, we removed the one-time costs, which included the hiring of our town administrator, the sidewalk project,
Yeah, the land takings or
the
the big.
landscaping and all that. Whoops, shit, I gotta get this. Get this so I can read the whole thing. Having trouble here, but I'll get there. Oh, yeah, the boat ramp. Actually, so we removed those things, but we considered other possibilities to do with some other projects that we think are coming up. So, seemed like a pretty good number based on all that.
We did actually, if we could skip ahead to the office supply line, we lowered that, but that does need to be level funded. Now with joining Sursage, the paper costs will be borne by the selectmen for the town. So that does just need to be restored.
So I want to finish up this professional technical. Are we
Oh,
okay?
I'm sorry.
Okay with the 40,000 that we
Yes.
have in there? It's in line with what we've had in the past years, so it's actually a little lower. Okay?
Yep.
Then go down to office supplies. Yeah, well, yeah, we have, how much should that be, you think? I mean, because what's happening?
Restore it for 2,500, which would be from last year, but you could even go up to 3,000 because
The difference this year is that we're purchasing through a group purchasing agreement, and so all the paper is going to be purchased out of this budget for Board of Selectmen, so the cost will be higher, and then we'll just distribute it out to everybody else.
So
So-
what should the number be?
So you want to up it to 3,000?
It was 25, you cut it to 15.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, we didn't spend it all, that's why we cut it, but,
Yeah, but you
Oh, so
didn't
there
pay
was
for
some
all the
left over.
papers.
no, I know, I think Mallory's recommending
I'm in
3,000.
25 to 3,000 even, yes. Jen had mentioned the town accountant had mentioned the department head meeting that we spent about $2,000 total as a town on paper.
Right.
So I think upping that to 3,000 would be fine.
So the request is 3?
Yes.
But I just want to go back to the professional and technical. Without naming
Yep.
projects, have you taken into consideration
Yes, I think,
the latest
Yep.
projects that we're working on?
yes,
Yes.
yes, it's in my note here, yeah, we have.
Okay. And even with that, you're still doing a cut? That looks like a
What-
big cut.
What was that? Oh, so if you restored it to your annual town meeting vote, and Selectman Taylor, you don't actually have this on your sheet, this is something I added for myself. I added the annual town meeting votes at for FY '18, so last year, so I could see what the public saw.
Yeah.
Without what was happening
Yeah.
in special town meeting, and it was 50,000. You had gone back to town meeting in October for more, specifically for land takings. So you would still be down
10,000.
10,000, if you just went up 10,000, you'd still be down, and you could restore it to your $50,000. And I think that's
I mean, we took out the,
totally in line.
all the sidewalk stuff over here,
Yeah.
which was pretty significant.
Yep.
So,
So
what's everybody's feeling?
restore to,
Oh, I'm
The 50?
I'm fine with it.
Okay. You okay with that?
To go to what?
50 instead of 40,
Yeah, I think that's safe,
okay.
because if anything else comes up that we don't know about tonight, we've got the fall town meeting.
Yep, okay, that's good, so that's been changed. Okay. Replacement equipment,
it's level funded.
this includes the lease agreements for printers and copiers. Because, why did we put that there?
Replace, we level funded it.
The 5,000, yeah, because it includes those,
This
yeah,
copier, I think might be on its last legs.
yeah. Okay, so we level funded that, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the
That's
same.
no problem.
Yep.
Okay. Now we're down to town administrator. We already talked about the salary increase.
Town council,
Yeah, it's town council next.
we went up by 10,000
Wait a
because
minute,
of
wait a
some,
minute. Where are we for town council?
number 151.
Yep. Yeah, yours is like out of order, Mr.
No, it
Chairman.
isn't. Mine's in order. We're still under town, we're still down in town
Oh, you
administrator.
need to,
I think you've jumped down.
get it to
No, Board of
151.
Selectmen, town council.
Oh, did I miss something like that?
No, you're
Oh,
not.
wait, no,
Go up
town
to
administrator's
Yours is
not in
not.
here.
151.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. Keep, whoop, 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 whoa.
No, it's
Keep
not.
going just a little bit more. It's 151.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Town
Well, we don't
council.
have,
But that's the next thing on ours, is
Correct.
town
Okay.
council.
Okay, but it's, okay, let me, I don't know where the numbers, because there's other items up here that we got to talk about.
This is just the way it was printed.
Okay, well, here,
I'm just going in
so
order.
this is what this is my budget document I gave to Karen and asked her to separate out the Board of Selectmen budgets, but I
He
made,
has
If
everything,
you could-
that's
if you-
what it is. Yeah.
I have
town
everything.
administrator's not
Yeah.
on there, so
So for
I'm
example, we
sorry.
have dues and subscriptions, we had, we increased that to 5,000.
Oh.
Because, organizations that the town administrator will want to belong to, and also because some of the subscriptions that she'll want.
So that's increased from 3,500. Yeah.
No, that would be in the town administrator budget, which Nancy and Brett do not have
Okay.
in front of you,
So
and
I'm
that's
not
my
seeing that.
mistake, I'm
Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
no problem.
and here we have,
So-
and the things that are in there are Sursage, which is $3,075 for that membership. And then we also have MMPA and MMA, so that you join. So that's why we came up with the 5,000. Okay?
But which budget are you looking at?
So
I'm looking at under town
Selectman
admin.
Goulart,
Oh,
we don't
we don't
have
have
town
it.
administrator. That's why I'm looking at the computer.
I'm looking at 3,500, and I'm
If
saying,
you want to look at this, the yellow things are the things we're going to involve with. Sorry. Okay.
So that's raising the dues and subscriptions line in the Board of Selectmen's budget to 5,000, correct?
Under you.
No,
Oh,
no.
under me.
Under
Yeah,
town
he's
administrator.
literally talking about the town
Oh,
talking about
surface is
administrator.
coming from me. Oh,
I mean,
okay,
we can move it under,
That's
the
fine.
number's
Well,
gonna
I
be
just
the
need to
same. It's gonna be
know.
5,000.
okay, all right,
We can,
okay.
okay?
I got it, I'm sorry.
Next items are down, town council.
Okay.
We
What I
had,
will do is email you both that document so you have that.
Deb?
She'll email us the documents so
Right.
everyone has it.
Okay, so under town council, we increased it slightly because we have some issues that we can't talk about here that are coming up that we're aware of. So.
So we're anticipating a slight
Increase,
Okay.
yeah. And those, and we'll be talking about those, but right now they're executive session type items because we have to keep them
During
confidentiality.
discussion, yep.
Okay. Down under data processing, what we've done here is we have, where's my notes? We put in a part-time 20-hour network administrator. I think this morning was a perfect example about why we need someone, because we're all trying to figure out what, which ones are working off of which thing, and we spent a lot of time doing that today, and I think we need, the size of a town we are, with all that goes on in town hall, we
Is that
definitely
the
need it.
first line, 5101?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 155. We don't have a line item for it.
No, it's 5101, she's
In my
correct.
document, I created
Yeah.
You-
it, so
okay.
it's
I'll need
new,
to
yeah.
update it here. But it comes out to 31,200.
I have one question regarding the network administrator. I do support it. I know it's necessary. My question is, will the network administrator be able to assist other departments that are not in this building?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
I see it as townwide.
Townwide, okay.
I know the school has their own, which is fine, but I do see it as townwide and completely necessary just to help us streamline even something as basic as a new hire.
Right. And we've had some issues that we've discovered since Mallory has been here that, weren't discussed before. So I think, again, a network administrator is essential. And it's under a separate data processing, so it would support the whole town. Okay. Network support fee, this is gone up slightly because I increased the terminal exchange services that, remember we had budgeted? And also includes the old town hall, when that gets up and running. So the annual increase is there.
That's just $500, right?
Yeah, what, I figured it, and it was 10,000 before, and so we've increased it to 13,180, because
Yep, I see it.
that includes new town hall. The other thing is the revise, the website support, and that was under budgeted last year, so we've increased that to 5,000 as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And just for everybody who's watching, I think after the third or the fourth year, they reduce the cost by half every year going forward.
Okay, let's go down to the next thing we're responsible for, and that would be public buildings and properties maintenance. We basically level funded all of this, and really had no changes from prior year.
I have
I
one
have
question.
an edit that
You have an
I
edit?
need to make. I have a line that we reduced by 25,000, is that?
That's one, was my question.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. What is that?
That, I
don't
can't
have
see
a
it.
good,
Zero, it's one,
Yeah, it went from 35 to 10. That's, I think, because, was that the stuff we did over here?
What,
Yeah, I'm not
what
sure
line are we looking at?
Yeah,
I'll show you.
192.
That one?
No, go down.
it says
Reduced by
192 and then
Wait, keep
35,000.
Right there.
Town offices, building, what is that?
building repairs, I
Building
believe.
repair,
I don't
yeah.
know why we would,
Why did we reduce it?
I don't know.
I don't even have a note here, but
I don't have a note.
let's
I'll
go.
research that a little
let's
bit more. We're
re-
coming back to it anyway next week, so
Yeah,
I'll
we'll revisit
research
that one as well.
So that's a whole.
So it should be level
Like a
funded?
hold.
Well, let's hold until we
We're gonna hold.
figure
I
out
know
what
that, I
our,
gotta look at the comments that I have in my notes.
I can't find it in the file in my brain, so who knows? Okay, let's go down to the next area, which is weights and measures. That's pretty straightforward. That's $1,200. That's, again, we just increased it to $1,200, a 4% increase. Only $1,200 total for the year.
What about building insurance, 193? Are we still waiting for info
Still
on that?
waiting.
Yeah, we're still
I do
waiting.
have a
We-
note to
yeah.
verify, and we have multiple requests into them, so I believe they're just compiling it.
Yeah, the things we didn't have any, yeah, that's why that was there. It was just, well, we increased it by 5, but we'll have to get more information. Weights and measures, we talked about. Forestry, same thing. We're gonna give Mr. Ferry an increase of $4.97
What is he gonna do with it?
as the tree warden.
Disaster committee, I know that you don't
It's
have,
the Emergency Preparedness Committee.
and that's now under the Board of Health.
Right.
So they did make their submission, and once you get the whole budget,
Well,
you'll
yeah,
see that.
So that's
So
why,
is
that's,
their submission separate from this one here?
Yes.
Okay,
They're
this is just
taking
like,
this over,
okay.
that shouldn't,
It's
just
not
cross
under-
that out.
Yep,
So that whole section's a hold?
Right, and you'll get that later when all of the
It'll be
other
the Board of Health
budgets
budget.
are before you. Basically, tonight, this, I need you to vote on this so I know what to plug in the master document and then get started.
right.
And we'll print out, and then you'll need to sign it for the town accountant.
Okay. I think that's it.
I have workers' comp as being next.
50,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna have to, we're gonna come back to that too with the. with all
Yeah,
the-
I
all
just
the-
have to verify
all
the
the
figures.
insurances,
We
yep.
just level funded it, I'm sure it will go up.
I think that's,
Anything,
I'm trying to, I'm looking here to see,
This tuition line, we haven't budgeted money there for
we used to.
a while, and we've got collective bargaining agreements that I think provides for some kind of,
That's true.
Mechanism.
Like
Something.
credits,
Yes.
yeah.
if they want to take a course.
Correct.
line item.
So they're
Oh,
supposed to notify.
920 tuition?
I think
They're
what,
supposed to notify the department head for this very reason.
okay, before the budget,
Before.
you mean? Okay.
But you know what? I don't think it's a bad idea to be proactive.
Yeah.
Like put
Put in like
something in,
$2,000 or
correct,
We
just
we never
in
had a
case.
lot of money in there, but we did try to encourage people to,
We should,
Take
I agree.
advantage.
We
I
had
agree.
nothing in there last,
no, we haven't budgeted stuff there.
That's
Do
why
you want
nobody's
to
going
make
back
a
to
motion to
school.
put something in there and?
What are you thinking? Selectman Goulart, did you have any?
how much is, I have to look at the collective bargaining agreement to see what we authorized.
It's generous.
That's generous.
It is.
So let's revisit that also
Okay.
for our next meeting.
Okay, so that's a hold.
Good
And,
catch, Selectman Goulart.
I don't think there's,
Are we not anticipating?
941, I believe we have to fund. But
the rest of them are all, in that section, employee benefits are driven by salaries.
Are we gonna,
We'll get the workers' comp numbers, we'll get the group health numbers, the group life, yeah. We'll get all that for next meeting.
So I'm just gonna have all these come back at the next meeting.
okay.
Okay.
I just had
So-
one question. I know you're gonna come back to it, but was the anticipation not to fund 940, the settlements
What's that
account?
for?
Settlements, I'm sorry.
Yes. And Fund 941.
Instead?
So
We
is
have- we
is
don't
that
have
on
it.
hold until July 1st?
We don't have
It's a
anything.
deficit right now. 941?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a deficit right now. We can transfer it at town meeting, or, it's just, I haven't been able to speak with the town accountant, so I stuck it in there as a placeholder.
Okay,
Okay.
so we don't have anything in here yet, so we'll have to come back and revisit.
But it's a
that.
deficit.
It's a
'cause we
deficit
paid-
in FY18.
Yes.
That means it shouldn't be in this budget. It should be in the FY18 budget,
it's
and
not-
we need a meeting before,
The special.
It's-
Annual
yeah.
town
before the
meeting.
annual, the same night.
It's not in this budget.
My question
Well,
was,
it's in mine. It's
this
in
one.
mine. It's
in
mine
this
for
one.
a-
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't belong here.
Oh,
What
didn't-
I provided for the board
Okay.
is my working document for
Okay.
them to review
You and I
tonight.
will have to
That's
get
why-
together so we can
yeah.
get all this.
Right.
I just have a general
So
question.
this, we should just mark this FY18.
Well, is it in,
I wanted to just- my-
deficit that much? 65,000?
Yes, that was the payment.
Okay, that'll be,
So we have
that'll
to
be
go to
18.
special town meeting
Right.
for the annual transfer it.
And you'll also have
But for
to,
me, it was a placeholder.
yeah.
But my question,
I'm assuming this will come from free cash and we'll,
So do we want to have a line item for 2019?
that's my question is.
Well,
do
you could have the line item, you don't have to put any money
I
in
know,
it.
that's what I mean.
Okay.
We probably don't want it because we
If
don't
you
have
left
any-
this, if
We
you,
don't plan on
this
that.
would,
don't
for
plan on
FY '19, this will be all zeros, because this will get
Correct.
moved to FY '18.
correct.
Okay.
Mine's already 0. I'm ahead of you.
Well, Mallory put 0 too.
So that's, I
That's
think
it?
that's it.
And liability hold, because she's
We're
gonna check all that.
verifying
Okay.
insurance. We did put in for a 10% increase.
So why don't we, so you want us to approve this with the exception of the ones we said we're going to revisit?
So the ones that are good to go, I believe, are 113 town meetings, 114 moderator, 122 Board of Selectmen with the exception of that one line. 151 town council, 155 data processing, 195 town reports, 244 weights and measures, 294 forestry, and
Okay.
hold the remaining.
Okay.
On town council, that money that we budgeted, did that include the money we were paying for the labor lawyer
No,
that
we
we
took
had
that out.
part of the
I
year?
adjusted it to, what line is that?
Well, what I'm saying is, we had 40, and
Only
we
51?
spent, through this statement, roughly 21,000. But we've upped it. Well, if we don't have that, why did we
No, no.
increase it?
No, we haven't, we've reduced it. No, we haven't reduced it.
No, my
No, she
question,
increased it by
Because we
10,000.
have some things coming up, so we're just anticipating some extra costs. And
but what I'm saying to you is, if the original 40 included the labor lawyer,
Right.
then you would deduct what was in there for the labor lawyer and then increase it for the new,
I see.
or, excuse me, anticipated
Right.
expenses.
When did you have the labor lawyer?
I included it.
Part
There
of
was-
last year.
there
Yep,
was
and the year
4,000.
before.
There was 4,000 in here that we took out because of that.
But that's because that person left, but we actually
Right.
budgeted 12,000. Of the 40, we
We're getting
budgeted
1,000 a
12.
month.
Right.
She's
But
correct.
he left before June 30th. So there were 4 months at 1,000 each that wasn't there.
Right,
So
that-
if this 40 includes 12, you take out the 12, now you've got to put back, that's 28. Now you've got to figure out what your anticipated amount is to come up with the number for 19,
Right.
okay?
I was not aware of that change, and FY '17 was 40, so
I have a note here about that, but I'll have to think about it. Why it's
I mean,
like-
if we want to level fund it at 40.
You still
that
may
makes
come
sense.
back to that amount of money.
Oh, yeah, you know why?
Well, if you're cutting it to 28 and you wanted to increase it by 10 anyway, you're already
8 or
basically
40.
back at 40.
So level
Here's why. A lot of the things we talked about before that we can't discuss publicly, they're all in there because those are gonna take a lot of legal,
Gotcha.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why we upped it to 50.
Yeah. that's
We don't,
basically-
so that's why.
I'm okay with level funding it because,
Well, it's a little higher. It's 50.
Level at 40.
yeah,
Well, I think we put it 50 because those are gonna be expensive, town council, so.
What, was it, all right, under professional and
Right here.
technical, we paid,
These are the other things that,
all right, but I'm talking about professional and technical now. Under professional and
that's what I'm talking
technical,
about too. That's what that is.
that would be the surveyor, engineer that we did a lot of work for
We're on a
us.
different thing. Right now, we're looking at town council.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting. No, I'm going back to professional and technical for the reason that when we talked about professional and technical, we talked about land taking
Right.
and easements.
Right.
Those aren't the same. So the land taking and the payments to the landowners, when we did the Center Street sidewalk, I think we took it out of professional and technical. However,
Up above that.
there were legal fees involved with that that could not come out of the Chapter 90 money. So that was in legal, town
Town
council.
council.
That sidewalk thing, that big project we got coming up, we've got to have money in professional and technical
Do it.
to do what we've hired Delano to do, to get all those easements and everything else. Then we got to pay the people for the land. And then we've got the legal expense for town council to get everything written up and recorded. So,
Yeah, I
So
think
it's like the same thing all over again.
only it's gonna be more money.
that's why we put more money. Let me find this.
I'm wondering if we get enough money.
Where you, what line?
All right, let me back up
The
here.
professional technical under town,
Yeah,
is it on the Board of Selectmen?
Yep,
That the one-
122.
122, professional technical. right.
78,000.
Yeah, we went, see, we upped that one because of what you're just talking about.
No, you didn't
No,
up it,
we-
you
we
kept it level,
decreased it.
based on the ATM vote from FY '18,
Oh,
so it's
Correct.
still
okay.
50,000.
Yes.
No, but what we did was we removed the one-time costs for the TA and the sidewalks, and then we put back in an estimate for those other projects.
But what I believe that Selectman Goulart is mentioning is that we would still have this land taking cost, easement cost,
Coming
that
from
50
there.
might not
Be
be
enough,
adequate.
exactly.
we were at 40, and then we discussed it went to 50, but now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, we were at 78,000, which included the Center Street sidewalk,
But if,
engineering fees, and the money we paid to the property owners. And what I'm saying is, the engineering fees, that's the surveyor, Delano and Company, and there's more property owners.
right.
This is gonna cost more money than the Center Street
No, I
sidewalk.
know, but, so here's what happened. It was at 78.4 last year. You come across, we spent, for the first 6 months, 43,138. The projected year-end balance that Jen has is 35,000. So it was over budgeted at 78.4. So that's why it came down to 50.
Also, the surveying work is already underway,
Right.
and that was
Would be this
part of
year.
the special article through
Right.
Complete Streets.
Right.
But to your point about the actual legal land taking and paying,
But it should cover.
people for
Because the land taking we're talking about now is going to be less than the side, well, the.
No,
No,
it's
you
gonna
said
be
more.
more.
Right, that part is right, you're right.
The engineering, surveying engineering costs
Right.
to do
Yep.
the easements and the payments to the landowners are gonna be more than Center Street.
Yep.
So, my other concern is, now we go to town council.
Did you went up quite a bit on town council?
well, we're coming back to this budget anyway,
Yep.
so we can
What do we- what
hash
do we-
that out and kind of get more information.
What
about-
Okay.
detail?
What I'm saying under town council, we've got to light a fire under them because the Center Street sidewalk project, if they have any fees involved with that, they've got to get that work done we're waiting for. I'm not sure if that was a special warrant article or if it was part of the budget on Center Street sidewalk.
So we were still waiting
The
for.
order of taking and to record it at the
I'd have to
registry.
read
Done that
the actual
The
article.
engineer has turned everything in, but we're waiting for
Okay,
council.
okay.
Okay.
So why don't we look into
We'll
this and
come
we'll
back to that
detail this
budget
out a little.
anyway.
Yeah, we just put a hold on it. And I would just, not tonight, but I would like to see a breakdown of what we've got under professional and technical and what we did last year, and also where we are with special articles, just so we cover everything. Because if we start the project, well, actually, we started it, but then if we have to wait for money at the fall town meeting,
We don't want,
we don't want to delay this
we want to use as much.
What's
project.
that third item? You said special articles, professional, technical, and what else did you want the breakdown of?
I think for town council,
Oh, what's in the
Okay.
budget for professional? There was money.
Compared to last
There was
year,
money
she
for the
said.
project, but then the budget itself, what did it contain?
Okay.
And we should break down the legal town council account also.
yeah.
Solely for that project?
They kinda go-
Or total?
Just whatever
Oh,
was in
total.
it,
Okay.
however,
They kind of
yeah.
go together. Right. Okay.
some of these things, quite frankly, a lot of these things that Mr. Ferry can use Chapter 90 money for, they will not allow, in other words, they say you can use Chapter 90 for the following: all the other expenses are expenses of the town. So that blanket, all other expenses are expenses of the town. We just got to make sure we get enough money to cover all of those.
So just a little summary, we obviously have some more to work, but under this, let me go back to the top. We have potential saving of, in a town administrator, get to the bottom of this. The town administrator budget of 10,000. We have a potential saving of $76,000 under Board of Selectmen. So that's pretty significant. That's if we approve everything. We've still got some work to do, obviously, but we also have town council will have to revisit it, but we've gone up a little there, so. Okay. So do you want us to approve that, or you want to just come back next week and try and get?
It would help me actually to approve the ones that you're not, because then I can get started on them.
Okay, so like 113,
Why
114.
don't you just go through your list again and we'll.
Yeah.
113, 114, 155.
Mhm.
I suppose I should read the names. So that's data processing. 195, town reports.
244.
244, weights and measures. 294, forestry.
Okay.
And the remaining will be next week.
Okay.
So you want to make that motion?
Selectman Goulart, do we do these in blocks or do we do them all
You
together?
can list the individual departments.
Okay.
In other words, just make a motion to approve the following.
The following departments, okay. I make a motion to approve the following departmental budgets. 113 town meetings, 114 moderator, 155 data processing, 195 town reports, 244 weights and measures, and 294 forestry.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. So that'll get started, and then we'll come back next week and we'll try and get the rest of it.
Sorry for all the confusion.
No. We appreciate your hard work.
Okay. The next item on our, we ready to move on?
I don't know where he went. Jim Digits appeared and then he.
Who?
Jim.
Oh, yeah, I did see
Here,
him.
he came right here. And
Oh,
then
I think he went and got a key.
Oh,
Give hope.
Digits.
I think you're in the
Oh, Jim
next
Digits.
office relocation. Okay.
So is Jim.
Well, what is Jim?
Jim Digits is here because a part of the office relocation
Okay,
discussion
yeah.
involves,
Okay.
just hang
All
tight
right.
for
Oh,
1 second.
Concom.
Involves, for the building next door, the Conservation
Yeah,
Commission
right.
joining, who's already kind of going
Yeah.
over there, Board of Health, ZBA, Veteran Services, and Building.
If
And
Jim is out there, why don't
conservation.
we,
Maybe.
why don't we see if we can get him in here to
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
put his 2 cents worth in?
All right.
Is there anything we can do while we're
Yeah, we could
waiting?
talk about selectmen meeting schedule.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna go to the next item, so we'll come back to it if you can find it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we take agenda item 6C out of order and do that one next.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, this has to do with the selectmen meeting schedule. I just put my 2 cents worth in, and then we can go from there. You know, now that we have a town administrator, and I think even before, but we do this meeting on a Wednesday, and then it seems like tomorrow we start getting ready for the next meeting. So it's very, time consuming. So I think the proposal would be that we meet every other week. And what I was thinking about also was, if we meet as a board every other week, then the week we don't meet, we could rotate and have like selectmen office hours. So one of us would be in the building. If anybody wants to come in and ask a question or talk to us about anything, we'd be available.
And so I have one question about that. Was your intention by setting up some sort of rotating office hours so that we could, my concern is keeping town hall open late on Wednesday. So
Right.
was that kind of a way to,
Yeah,
okay, I'm okay with that, but I think our primary concern should be, I agree, we can go to bi-weekly meetings and I support it. But my primary concern is making sure that the building stays open for the people who work, a 9 to 5 and they can't get here.
I don't see anything changing except for that, except for our schedule. I mean, there's some discussion, I talked to Sue and our town clerk and our town treasurer, and nobody comes in to see them on Wednesday nights, so that's another discussion though, so.
I would like to keep it the same until we have that decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying weekly meetings, I'm just saying making sure that it stays open every week, Wednesday night from 6:30 to 8.
It will be open,
Yep.
for the selectmen will be here under this proposal. What's your thoughts?
I would like to leave the schedule the way it is until we get to the summer schedule. But in the meantime, I want input from the public, how they feel about this. There are department heads in this building that have told me that if the selectmen are not going to be meeting, that they would not be coming in, and they are elected officials and can make that decision. So I guess what I'm saying is, we'll take this under advisement, and if the public has any feelings about this, in other words, that the Board of Selectmen will, instead of meeting every week and then going on the summer schedule, June, July, August, the bi-weekly meetings every other week would be year-round, unless, obviously, we had to have a special meeting, and then we would schedule a meeting. So if anyone has any input, you can either send an email to Mrs. Brady, or you can call up and leave a message, but I'd like to know how the public feels about it.
Anybody in the audience have any feelings about it? Sounds a good idea.
That's
Come in on
prior
Selectmen office
practice.
hours, I guess.
Okay, so we'll come back, we'll table that for now, and...
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we take it under advisement and request input from employees and the public. This will also include the entire campus, which means this building and the new one next door, the new old one next door.
Do we have, so if we're taking it under advisement, do we have an idea of when we're gonna take it back up?
Next week?
Next week?
Next week, I'd like to take it.
Are you okay with that, Selectman Goulart?
As I said, I'm waiting to see. I don't see us jumping into this quickly. We know that the schedule's going to change for the summer, which is June, July, August. I would think we could defer this till at least April.
Well, I'd like
Actually,
to
well, I
get...
agree with, if I may, I'm sorry, with Selectman Goulart, just because now it's the budget and now I need you to meet.
Yeah, we're gonna be here
So
anyways,
I need
yeah.
you to be here.
And the FinCom is going to be doing their meetings. I saw Mr. Swartz today, and he told me that as soon as they get the budget from us, they're going to be scheduling their meetings.
So let's wait for public input, so if anybody has any public input, please let us know. If you want to come to a meeting and talk about it, we're open to that too. Mr. Borkin?
I just had a question. I was just thinking tonight it was so busy with passports.
Right.
Would that impact that at all?
Well, the
It might.
town
Yeah,
clerk
it would.
and the treasurer don't do the passport, so that actually would not affect their duties. But again, I want to see town hall stay open on Wednesday night, regardless.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
On another note, I can tell you that I had business with a clerk. There was no clerk. But I will thank there was no clerk work.
Okay.
But that's not a big deal. Actually, the treasurer stepped up and helped me out with it, which was nice.
I believe they
They
rotate,
do
that's
rotate.
why.
They rotate.
They do rotate.
Yeah, I just didn't find one.
Okay, we'll come back to this.
Mary was the acting
Yeah,
clerk.
she helped me out. It was no problem.
We'll come back to
I
this.
made a motion, so is there a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now let's go back up to the office relocation discussion.
Okay, back again. So we are trying to figure out space now that we have a new building, and discussions have been that the Board of Health, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the building inspector, and the veteran service officer locate within the old town hall building. I don't know how to refer to this, Nancy, you're absolutely right, the new old town hall. And we're thinking about moving things around here in this town hall building, and so the idea came about that the conservation would have some space over there. So we're wondering how you feel about that. We think that it would provide a little bit more space for you for files wise and all of that
Where?
in the Grange. But we want your input.
Have you
We don't want to just uproot you.
Mr. Fred, have you even seen it? Has anyone asked you to come look at the space?
Anyone asked me for?
The
To go
space.
look at the space?
To do a
The
tour of
lower
the
level
building?
of that building? Have you even seen it?
Oh, I've seen it. We used to play basketball.
No, no, no.
That was when it was
It
the old
looks
town.
different.
That was a long time
The layout of it now with the renovations.
It's been renovated?
Yeah.
Yes.
So why don't we do this?
Let's hold this.
You
We'll
know,
take him
I
over
really
there.
think this is premature. I really think that Mr. Fredette and other members of the Conservation Commission should go through the building, find out what everyone's talking about. I don't think it's appropriate to bring him in here tonight and say,
No, we're
hey,
fine. No, I agree with you 100%. I thought you were...
Nancy.
There was a plan to bring them over there yesterday, but Mother Nature had,
Okay.
so.
they wouldn't shovel?
You didn't want to go?
So your commission can go over there, see the space we're talking about, and then we'll come back to this next week. Sound
And we'll
good?
get your opinion on how you feel about
It's
it.
just a big open room over there, isn't it?
No,
One big
no.
open room.
No.
This is downstairs.
Yeah,
There's office space
downstairs.
Downstairs.
They made office
So
spaces
you would have,
downstairs.
so you would have
With
it.
this idea, with this plan, would the Conservation Commission be the only people over there?
No.
No.
Well, why don't you go with what, again, who else is going?
It would be Board of Health, Building Inspector, Veteran Services Officer, and Zoning Board of Appeals.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That'd give you a little bit more space than you have now. And then eventually the meeting space will be refinished,
Upstairs.
and that's where I would envision you'd have your actual meetings.
Tonight we could have met in the phone room, but, you know, when you start throwing solar panels in
No solar
and
panels.
housing developments, you know, I can be looking at 30 or 40 years.
Well, we appreciate your flexibility.
Absolutely.
But it's a large meeting space up there, and I know that, at least for the Council Oak meeting, you had quite a bit of people there. So you do have some upcoming projects that I think a lot of people would come out for, so
Yeah.
to me, it makes sense, but
Nice space, too.
we should bring you over there,
Space and-
yeah. You can get a
What
feel for
would
it.
be left here?
Everybody else, the accountant, treasurer, the clerk, the assessors, myself, the Board of Selectmen, the Sewer Commission, the Planning Board.
There's a,
Cable commission?
Cable, yes.
there's a need for more space in this building. That's why we're moving people over there, because, like, you go in the clerk's office, for example, they have no space, so that's part of the bigger plan. We haven't made all those decisions yet, though. Okay?
So are you okay with doing a tour and then we can have a discussion after? Okay. I'm okay with
Mr.
that.
Chairman, I make a motion that the discussion about Conservation Commission moving be delayed until Mr. Fredette and his committee have a chance to tour the facility.
Second.
Sound good? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Fournette.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the Open Space Committee.
Are we going to do anything with Mr. Aguirre here on this office relocation?
Well, I think we
A
just did
progress report?
I think we just did it, didn't we?
No, no.
You have
No, that
any-
was
No.
Concom. I'm looking for progress. You better be
Well,
prepared.
Okay, you want to add anything?
I'm
or-
prepared. We had other agenda items on that. You don't want to get into that now, right?
No, down in the new business?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get down
So,
there.
as far as the office relocation, excuse me. I'm glad you stayed with that. Hello, everybody at home. Yeah, we actually have been finished. I know that it's taken a little bit longer than we first anticipated, but it is finally done. Selectman Goulart got to tour the building on Monday. She can attest, it came out phenomenal, I think. So I, again, thank everybody for their support. We did have one snafu. Mother Nature has been somewhat relentless this year, and she decided to tear off a couple of square of shingles off the roof. So during the first nor'easter, myself and a member of the highway department were scrambling to spread tarps out to try to alleviate damage to our newly renovated space, and we did very well. There was minimal damage, but we now have to get the roof fixed. So I have held off on moving any of the office equipment over there, which was slated for last week, until we get the roof repaired. And I believe we'll be having discussions about that, right?
Coming up, yeah.
So it's close. We hope to have the roof repaired if Mother Nature will cooperate in the next 2 to 3 weeks. In the interim, we're going to discuss office relocations with actual departments. I believe the nucleus is set. Building department, zoning board of appeals, veteran services, and the health department will be relocating over there. And I'm hoping that we're over there in the next few weeks, so. But it's a functional space, and I think it's a space everyone at home, when they visit, is gonna be proud of. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up down to recommendations from the Open Space Committee. We had 2 people put an application to join the Open Space Committee.
Are they volunteering?
If you show up at a meeting, you know,
You
I
may
just
get
want
on
you
the
to
committee.
know, some people go home with a title.
want to talk to you before you leave on the end of this meeting, too. So anyway, there was two people that applied for it. The committee is recommending one of those be appointed, and that'd be Jessica Daly. So their recommendation is we appoint Jessica Daly to the Open Space Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I just wanted to add, I believe they only took one recommendation so as to have an odd number of members for voting. I would assume.
Okay. The next order of business is under new business. A request from the Highway Department to acquire the E350 van from the Board of Health. And what this is, Sergeant Dutra, actually, when he was here, he acquired a piece of military surplus that was originally intended for the animal control officer, but it was determined that it's not going to be used for that, wasn't appropriate for that. So he is recommending that the board actually, after hearing, I'm going to read this here, after hearing that the Board of Health does not wish to utilize the 2050 E350 van that was acquired for military surplus for possible ACO use, I wish to recommend that the Highway Department take control of said vehicle. This vehicle could be utilized could be utilized as a tool vehicle to more mobilize our town-wide efforts and projects that we undertake, especially with our 2 employees hired with carpentry skills. This vehicle will need a new motor. This repair is estimated at $3,200, with a crate motor having a 3-year warranty and unlimited mileage.
This is not the current ACO van?
No.
No.
This is
No.
one that
This
they
would have been, this
acquired.
is a new one, okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we grant the request of the highway superintendent and that this E350 van be transferred to the highway department.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just have one question, and you might actually know a little bit more, Town Administrator Aaronstein. The current ACO van, my thoughts would be needs to be replaced. So did the Board of Health ever mention anything about that?
Actually, yes, today, hot off the presses. The current ACO vehicle is not climate controlled, which is a problem. It needs to be now through the law. We have to have climate controlled in order to take dogs or other animals. So they found on Gov Deals, which is a municipal auction site where people can unload their surplus, and these are other municipalities nationwide, and they purchased this, Jim, a box? Is it called a box?
Box?
It goes on top of a pickup truck,
Right,
and it's
so-
AC controlled.
So the police department is going to relinquish their pickup truck that they have to the Board of Health.
Okay.
And this apparatus was found online by, I believe it was Tom Ferry and Selectmen, Chairman Pires. And I had the task of trying to get it on auction today, and we were successful. So we purchased it.
Congratulations.
This is a $12,000 unit. We purchased it today for $630.
Wow.
So we just need to pick it up. So we tried, with the expense of picking it up, we tried to keep that number at about $1,000. That was our threshold. I think we're right about there. So we now have the package coming together. So the answer is that the will be replaced.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. Thank
And
you so much.
compliant.
Good work. Good work.
Great, thank you. Okay.
We need to take, we need to vote. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the
Thank
next item is award a bid for Wheeler Street demolition. And we had a proposal, a bid went out. We received four bids. The 5th person did not submit. So the low bid on this was an Aldor Tetral Construction Incorporated at a bid of $21,375. You want to say any more to it?
No, I echo your words, with the exception that Toomey Landscaping submitted a bid late.
Oh, they did.
They did. It was still the highest bid. It was over 40,000. but he's aware that it was late. So that is correct. Tetrol Construction was the lowest bidder. I was able to solidify that he has had the insurance, the licensing, et cetera, et cetera. And once it's awarded, he will get a payment bond to us, and then we can move forward with setting the demolition date.
Okay,
Thanks.
excellent. Okay, you want a motion to that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to award the bid for Wheeler Street demolition to Aldor Tetro Construction Incorporated, Mendon, Massachusetts, for the bid amount of $21,375.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great, thank you.
Good work, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, the next item is authorization for fire chief to apply for CERT grant.
Thank
And I'm gonna
Sorry,
let,
take one pass.
let you
on that.
explain what that is.
So, this is here before you because the fire chief needs authorization by the Board of Selectmen to actually apply for this, but CERT is Community Emergency Response Team or Citizen Emergency Response Team, and it just helps us prepare, I can't believe we're talking about it again, but emergency preparedness all around. And I did provide this to you because in light of national news and everything that's been going on, I thought that you would find it interesting. But he is going forward with his programming. The fire chief is readying his department.
Is there a cost to it?
For a match, no, I believe, I don't know how much he's applying for, but
Okay, oh, so it's a grant he's applying for?
he's applying for
I
a
got you,
grant, and he
okay.
needs your authorization in order to do so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize Fire Chief Christopher McGee to apply for the Community Emergency Response Team grant.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion
Do
carries.
you know how much money is possible?
I don't know. I'll find out. I'll update you.
Okay.
Okay, the next,
Oh, I just actually have one question. Going forward, I understand why we had to approve that, but going forward, will a lot of any necessary approvals go through the Board of Health since that committee is under them?
This is not in his capacity as emergency preparedness. This is his capacity as a fire chief. So
Gotcha.
he's your
Yep.
employee.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
the next item is a response from Sewer Commission to the Board of Selectmen on a request that we submitted. And so what, back up a little bit here. The board,
I can give some background
Yeah,
on
go
this.
ahead. Yeah.
So I came to you, I don't know, a month ago, requesting that the board send a letter to the sewer commission asking them, in the interest of economic development, to do a flow calculation study to determine basically what we could do to be business-ready in the sense of attracting new businesses. It is not attractive for a business to have to set up its own septic system or its own wastewater treatment plant, so we were exploring that avenue. You granted my request, you sent them a letter, and this is their response, which they are referencing a letter from 2008, and to me, I think the best course of action is to have both boards come together at a joint meeting, discuss it, and then bring it at a future town meeting if necessary, because their primary concern is funding for any major
And I
expansion or study.
I understand. And just so everybody knows, I have spoken to the office manager, Ms. Curtis, extensively about this over the last 2 years, so I totally understand, and I look forward to hopefully having a joint meeting with them.
sounds good. So we don't have any misunderstanding about what we're asking for and what they can provide and how we would fund it, so.
What they're referring to back as a partial comprehensive wastewater treatment plan being funded, this goes back to when the Aggie School asked permission to tie into the sewer line. And Mr. Bacadero, their engineer, initially had said that there could be no expansion without a full study. Obviously, being a public school, my response was, they'll get a waiver from the state. We don't need to do the plan first. We didn't have to get the waiver because we talked to Mr. Ham from DEP, and he told us that we could proceed. We didn't need to do this plan first. However, what they were saying was that before any additional expansion could take place, there had to be this study. Now, So the Aggie School tied in, and that's all fine and dandy. However, they have since requested information about what the Aggie School plans will be for the upcoming building. And I'll let Jim respond to that. My response was, you need to direct these questions to Mr. Aguirre, Mr. Ferry, and Kahal O'Brien. So, if you will, Jim.
So, sure. So, there was some email dialogue that went back and forth, and the design team has been very forthright with including town departments. They've been very inclusive. I recently met with them, with members of my staff, to discuss what code compliancy requirements are going to be needed, not just for the new buildings, but also the buildings that they're renovating. So they're still putting their hands around the fixture counts, things of that nature. They also did say that they are trying to look at this project as trying to be low cost and low use friendly, meaning the infrastructure, the utilities. We're going to try to make alternative energy sources, low flow toilets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the background behind putting a number on the flow increase is probably a little more complicated than most. So I think it's just going to take some time for them to realize that number.
And also, we're not just talking about the Aggie School here, we're talking about
Townwide.
The whole town,
Townwide.
yeah.
Right.
because the only way we're going to attract business is we get
Right.
some infrastructure down the
So
road.
if I could just make a quick comment about that, and Mallory is aware of this. One of the biggest problems for businesses when they come in is costs. And when we sit down and go over costs, of course, I'm an integral part of that because I'm the one who's going to require a lot of upgrades or whatever the code requires. The biggest problem is the septic. Because we're talking about a 3-digit number for most cases with commercial expansion. And quite frankly, it's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a town where we know we don't want any more homes, the only way we can grow is to keep people here, shopping here, and to keep the businesses in town, which aren't a burden on the infrastructure. So this may be an investment for all of us, but I think it'll pay off in the long run. So,
It's a ways down the road, you know.
Oh, yeah, this is not like tomorrow,
We
but
just need our study.
We need to know what we're talking about before we can move forward.
Agreed.
It's frustrating to hear businesses say they
Oh, yeah,
can't
we know
move in
that,
because of that.
Oh, yeah. I just piggybacking off of what the commissioner said, I agree with every word that you said. And I do think after reading the correspondence from 2008 from the Board of Sewer Commissioners, it's clear that if it's going to happen, it is going to be an investment on behalf of the town. So, you know, it is what it is, but if we want to be serious about bringing in business into town, then we have to get serious about it and make tough decisions, so.
And this letter also references a study conducted in October 2007, and they'll be providing us with a copy by next week, they say, so I'm just interested to see what that says.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if, my other thought is, even if the Board of Sewer Commissioners can't give us a penny, they can at least help us
Right.
with the idea. Whatever happens, but we
So
look forward to working with them on it.
So why don't we set up a joint meeting, they can come to one of our meetings here, and we can just
Yep.
kick it around and get on the same page. Sound good?
Sounds very good. Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay, the next item is scheduling of the town meeting. So we have a bunch of dates here, which I'll be glad to go through. We back up from the town meeting, which is going to be, we hope to have on June 4th, which requires the warrant to be posted 2 weeks before that, which will be May 21st, which means that we as a board need to sign the warrant on May 16th. That, in order to get that done, we need the warrant to close, which means all articles that people want to have on there need to be submitted by April 25th. And the warrant is open as of today. So,
And truth be
Well-
told, people have been giving warrant article
I have
placeholders for
a huge
a while.
list.
right.
So I would just request tonight that you vote to set town meeting for
Right.
June 4th, and vote to open the warrant and
Today.
set the, today,
Set the schedule.
and set the closing date as of April
Has
20th.
everyone responded for June the 4th? That we need?
Town clerk, the town moderator, and town council are available.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to schedule the annual town meeting for Monday, June 4th, 2018.
Second?
So we want to add on the warrant, why don't we do the whole schedule here at once? 'cause
Oh, okay, all
that's what we
right,
need.
let me back up. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to open the warrant effective March 14th, 2018, to close the warrant April 25th, 2018, and to hold the town meeting on Monday, June 4th, 2018.
A second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries, great. So we gotta get moving now. Not like you haven't been moving.
It just hasn't stopped moving.
Okay, open warrant, okay, we just
You're all set on
scheduled it, we opened the warrant.
Just a word of
Sorry, Mr.
advice to anybody that's proposing a warrant article, if you bring an article by petition, all these dates apply. Be careful and pay attention to the wording, because what you submit has to go on the warrant the way you wrote it. We can't even correct punctuation and grammar.
And we want to sometimes.
But if you need, but I would say if you need advice on how to word it too, we
No,
can't open that?
We cannot
Absolutely
consult
not.
the petition articles.
because
Talk to somebody else then, okay.
people
that's
have
fine.
attached,
that a
they
warrant
even asked the town clerk, and she can't do it.
Okay.
And this is what
I
David,
stand corrected.
Attorney Gay told us.
Okay, that's fine. I guess I said that. Okay, we have an approved, request for approval of funding, a funding source for the Old Town Hall. Ms. Aguirre, why don't you talk to us about that?
You're on a roll tonight.
I know.
I gotta tell you a little story. I'm taking pictures all along of the old town, when it was the Grange Hall and everything else. So, this week I went to CVS, I selected 87 pictures, hit the print button, went and did my shopping. I got 19 pictures. And then the manager messed with it, I got the same 19 pictures. Then she went back to the kiosk I worked from, you know, because it was still there. She hit the print, they put a new roll of paper, and they put all this in it. I had pictures coming out. I got more than 87, and in the end, I was not charged for these pictures.
Oh,
So I'm going to give them to Mr. Aguirre once I get them in order and get rid of the duplicates. And I got to take a couple more because I don't have the back entrance and the, you know, the vestibule. But he's going to make a collage, beginning to end, so people can follow it when it was an industrial kitchen with the stainless steel and everything. And they
People
can
won't even believe like what it looked like before. It's
So,
but I want to thank CVS.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and thanks
Well,
Selectman
doing the right
Goulart for her
thing.
patience, because I would have walked out, so.
I know.
Well, after over 50, you get them for, and if you do the hour thing, you get them for 20 cents. So I figured I gotta go shopping.
You
but
got the discount, huh?
It
Good thing you went, because we wouldn't have got it.
It took longer than an hour, so I got home like 9:30
Okay.
that night.
We
So with
digress.
that said, we think, we don't think, but we plan on having that on display when we finish the upstairs and have our official ribbon cutting, which is what we're here to talk about. So we slated this project with a budget of $125,000, and that was about 15, 16 months ago. And I think, remember, the ordinance said it couldn't be done for $125,000. And I'll tell you that I have done extremely well. We just ran out of $125,000. Having that tight number was at the beginning, I thought was going to be a real task, but it actually made me look to ways to save money, look for grants, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually like having a low number to work off of. We had 3 non-budgeted items that came up, and they were pretty costly. So in the end, we are going to be short, but they were for items that weren't included in the original budget.
What were they?
So the 3 items were, first, I predicated on one area of rot or damage in the building, which was from a door that I knew was leaking, which was the door on the side of the building where the handicap ramp is. We ended up finding 3 areas, and those areas were unforeseen. We didn't know they were there until we opened the walls up and found them. Obviously, we fixed them while we had the walls open. So the damage was pretty substantial, so that was over $10,000 in damage we had to face. At the Selectmen's request, and I agreed with it at the time, the upstairs was never meant to be sheetrocked. We were going to just patch the walls as they were to try to keep it the original horse lath and plaster. But, you know, I think after visiting the space, and I believe Selectman Zagrafis, you were there for that, So was Selectman Goulart.
I've got him in a picture.
Right.
You can't deny it.
I think the exact words were, we're not gonna do all this and then have these old walls upstairs, so.
I agree.
So we re-sheetrocked the walls upstairs, which is another expense that we didn't predicate on. And then the last one was the entrance. The entrance, once we put the front door in, was missing something. And I know that there's been some criticism because the porch wasn't in the original design of the building. But quite frankly, when you look at that building, that's a meeting place for Daytonians. And I just envisioned a place where people could congregate outside the front door, solve the world's problems, and maybe watch the sunset to the west. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm being serious, So I made the decision to put the front porch on. There needed to be some kind of awning there anyway, but an awning just didn't work for me for curb appeal.
Okay.
So we did that nice porch with the 10-pitch roof that matches, et cetera, et cetera. So when you add those three things up, we come up with somewhere around $30,000 short to get the upstairs done. So the downstairs is complete, the upstairs is incomplete, and I don't want to encumber any more expenses until I have the support of the selectmen. Now,
May I make one comment about
Sure.
that? I will say, I'm not here to defend anybody, but I think you're spot on. I know when I voted on the 125,000 for Old Town Hall, which I support and still do to this day, I don't even think we had been talking about the upstairs at that point. We had only just pictured the downstairs being done, so I'm not surprised that
right.
because it was never even really intended, but I support it because it looks
Okay.
great.
Yeah, well, I think to back up your statement, the upstairs was, really, we weren't gonna do much to it. But obviously, floor refinishing, things like that, we have to do that. It has to be a presentable
Looks good, by
space
the way.
to the people.
So I guess my question is, what didn't get done?
So right now,
What do you need the 30,000 for, I guess?
right, so right now, the downstairs is completely finished except for air conditioning. We don't have air conditioning down there. The upstairs, so the downstairs, just so everybody at home knows, I know we haven't seen it, it includes all the office space that we've been discussing. It includes a brand-new handicap bathroom. There's a new mechanical room. There was some underground plumbing that we didn't know needed replaced. That was replaced, but we kept those costs very low. We did most of the work ourselves. Thanks to an in-house plumber, which you supported, so I appreciate that. So the downstairs is move-in ready as long as we have a roof that doesn't leak. The upstairs, however, has been sheetrocked, painted. The bathrooms have been roughed in, so the bathrooms are not complete. The bathrooms are just bare walls with bare plumbing. The foyer is not finished, meaning when you walk in the front door, that's unfinished. The ceiling in the main mating room is not finished as well. So, and then, of course, heat and air conditioning upstairs.
There's no heat, now, is it heat and air conditioning downstairs?
Heat, not air
No
conditioning.
AC.
No AC.
Can you add that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
the cooling thing?
Yeah. The air conditioning, just so you're aware, Selectman Taylor, I would have come to you a lot sooner if it was something that would have impacted the remodeling. It's not. We're doing a high-efficiency wall
Sure,
unit,
yeah.
which isn't going to impact any of the remodeling that we did.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. I'm wondering why we didn't put the air conditioning in before we did some of these other things that cost us the 30,000. Because you really can't occupy it in the summer without AC.
Right, but we're
Yeah,
still
we're
3
in
months,
winter.
4 months away
There's still
from...
snow outside.
Yeah, I know,
Cold.
but what my point is, if we don't approve this, then what do? We would take it to town meeting and
I
try
would
and
take it to
get,
town meeting in June, right.
which you won't get it until July.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, I see your point.
That's my
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah, well, there's a few reasons why. Logistics, I had to open up the front walls upstairs to put the porch on. I mean, I get your point, and I suppose we could have done a little differently, but it is what it is, it's done.
Yeah.
You're saying you need about 30,000 to, how much additional will it cost to do the AC downstairs now?
$4,300.
So you're talking $35,000?
No, that's included in the price for $30,000. That's included.
The
To finish
AC
the
for
entire-
downstairs?
yeah,
Okay, so if you just.
finish the entire project.
That's my
So,
question.
Oh,
so to
okay.
answer your question, to finish downstairs before, it would be $4,400 for
Okay.
the AC
Okay.
downstairs.
And then the other
If we
stuff-
didn't touch the upstairs.
Any other stuff could potentially wait until
If
after
it,
town
if it
meeting.
had to, that's
Upstairs
correct.
stuff, right?
If it
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to,
okay.
right. That would just delay, obviously, the opening of the upstairs.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But the downstairs is really the critical part of this.
Well, yeah, but you know, we could easily absorb the 4,000, so maybe that's why I wasn't concerned about it.
Okay,
you know,
okay, that's what I
so-
wanted to
right,
hear. It's just so
yeah.
we know what our options are
Right,
here.
right.
So,
So, have you looked at funding sources? Have
I
you
have.
talked to Jen?
I
Because
did.
we need to
I
know
met-
where we've got
I
money.
did, I met with Jen, and I've corroborated that. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Fournette.
So I met with Jennifer, and I've corroborated the discussion with the town administrator. And there's a little over 70,000 combined in the selectmen's budget, which deals with buildings. In that is building repairs and maintenance, which has in excess of 20,000. Town office energy for next door, which we funded for the entire year, but we haven't heated the place to its fullest potential for the entire year, so there's gonna be money left in those accounts. So if you look at the entire budget, if we completed the building repairs and maintenance budget, which wouldn't satisfy the entire encumbrances needed, there are still numbers in other line items that we think would satisfy that. Now, I think we gotta further discuss,
The
we know
roof.
that there are other encumbrances,
right.
and then the roof.
Right.
The roof right now is paramount, because I can't
No,
move
we gotta
in
do
at
that
all.
before we do anything else.
Right. So the roof, I've met with, I've had 3 calls on this so far. The local, our insurance agency, the parent company who's out in the western part of the state, and a local insurance adjuster who's in Worcester. He was slated to come yesterday. A lot of things were gonna happen yesterday.
Things did happen yesterday.
So he did not come down to look at the roof. I did get into detail with him of what we would be looking to do, and that was to replace the entire roof, because both sides of the roof have been damaged. The roof is not that old, it shouldn't have sustained that damage, so it was definitely caused by the windstorm. He couldn't give me a definite over the phone, but said it sounds like it would be favorable, but, you know, of course, he's not gonna tell me that with any definitive answer. So the intent on my part is to fight hard to get the roof replaced. Also, the time that we spent there in saving the lower level from any damage
Yeah.
or any substantial damage is also gonna be reimbursed. And any expenses that we incurred, such as the tarps, et cetera, et cetera. So we should be getting a pretty decent-sized check back when it comes. The problem is,
From insurance.
from insurance. Problem is, that goes to the general fund, so we need a funding source outside of that, even though we're gonna be reimbursed.
So we need to pay it up front, and then we will get the reimbursement.
Either in whole or in part.
Okay.
We're not sure yet, that's what we're gonna discuss.
I understand.
So, yeah, so it is a legitimate
That's
concern,
the first thing we need to
Right.
worry about is the roof.
right, and that roof is gonna cost probably $25,000. So we're not, you know,
Let's
which
stop.
is actually a good price.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I know.
So I'm putting that out to bid right now. I'm going to assemble bids for the roof replacement. Actually, in discussions with the insurance company, we're going to do it in 2 tiers. We're going to replace the side with a patch, the side that's staying the most damage with a patch on the other side, and then a complete replacement. Patching what's there is not an option.
No, I agree.
So in the interim, just so everybody at home knows, we've done a fairly elaborate collection system inside to collect any roof leaks. Selectman Goulart got her eye on it yesterday.
A swimming pool.
And it is working effectively. So yeah, we should discuss this in whole, because we want to make sure we have enough money to do all this.
So what's your proposal for the roof, I guess, is?
My proposal for the roof is to replace it in its
I know,
entirety.
as far as where the money's gonna come from.
I think he's still working that out with Jen.
Well, there is,
Okay,
there is.
I have an opinion on that.
Town administrator.
I was hoping we could reach out to the finance committee for their reserve fund. That way we're not depleting our public buildings line,
Yeah.
because that's all of
We've
our,
got,
that's
like,
all of our.
Did you say
public-
50, around
It's
50?
about 50,000. We've only taken small sums from there, which is a great credit to this town, so great job, everybody. But to me, it's appropriate. We don't have a building needs budget with a committee that determines whether or not it's a worthy project or wasteful or whatever.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes
But it's
sense.
definitely a worthy project.
That
We
makes
already
sense.
Yes, yes.
I would
Not only
agree.
that, it's the end of practically the end of the
Right.
fiscal
Correct.
year. It's not January or July, and we got a whole year ahead of us.
Exactly.
Right.
Plus, it's an emergent situation.
And this is the exact type of expense that would
Right.
be applicable for the reserve fund. So I think it's a great suggestion.
And we can't move anyone in until it gets fixed,
Well,
so we gotta
that's
get
it.
it fixed.
It's holding us up.
Yep.
So I guess we need to get some definitive numbers before we can recommend something to
And
the
he
finance
said he'll
committee.
get the
I know, yeah.
Right.
bids.
So I want to get everything out on the table. So I have no problem going to the town meeting for a special article.
Yeah, let's get the roof done.
To do?
Let's
Yeah.
let's talk about
Yeah.
the roof. So the first
Okay.
thing we're gonna do is you're gonna get the
Estimates.
estimates.
Yep.
And then you bring them back to us and we'll get that transfer thing and we'll vote on recommendation to finance
Okay.
committee, okay?
In the interim, go ahead.
May I can we also proceed with the AC?
I was
so
just
that
gonna
we
say
can
that. Yeah.
actually get our people
Well, that
moved in
was
over
what I was
there?
gonna ask,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's with 4,400, and I
Right.
We
think
got-
one
we
of
got
our
it.
budgets could,
Yeah, we don't need to go to
So is that
reserve
gonna
fund for
be,
that.
oh, okay, all right, I understand.
so
now.
reserve
Okay.
fund is roof,
Right.
and then the 4,400, I think,
Yep.
could come out of building repairs and maintenance or
So I have,
public
um,
finance.
I have
Good work.
had some work done upstairs since we discussed this last. And I know other things have transpired since then.
Yep.
So I don't know collectively what I have incurred to date, but there may be another few $1,000s that I've
Oh,
incurred.
okay.
So why
So,
don't-
because the guys have been working and,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Yep, I understand.
But I would completely understand if you want me to stop and get the downstairs completed 100%.
It makes
We'll get the roof, work to get the roof fixed.
Yep.
Get the offices over there.
Yep.
I have no problem,
And then
you know,
And then let's revisit,
regrouping.
let's
Yeah.
revisit everything else after
Okay.
that. Those are critical.
We can do that.
So I think we can, we have money in the building fund to get the AC going.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't need anything from us right here today. We do need, and then once we get the estimates from you, then we'll vote on
So
recommendations.
the 30,000 you mentioned at the beginning when you started talking, if we take out the AC, now we're less than 26,000.
That's correct.
Because the other thing is, as we get close to the end of the fiscal year and see what kind of money we have balances in various accounts, after this gets updated, it's possible to encumber money in this year for
Right.
work in the next year if you
Right.
get the stuff all done.
Absolutely.
So
I
it might be,
agree,
it
and-
might be an option.
And we're being fully transparent with everyone at home. The money is going to be spent, but, if there's excess funds in these lines, it's going to free cash anyway.
I know, I know.
So just
Should
get the
be
project
spent at the
done.
town meeting.
So let's, I just want to get things done, the most important
I
things first. And
understand,
then
I
then
understand.
we'll come back and we'll
I
discuss
understand,
this.
It's
that's
like
fine.
moving into a new home, right?
Yes.
You want this done and you want that done, and
Right.
Everybody
I
wants.
was also, not that this is an excuse or deterrent, but I was also looking to see if there was any grant funding available for a high-efficiency, wall-mounted, mini-split AC unit, and I have not found any at all, so,
4,500, it's not.
yeah, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
So that will get us, and how quickly can that happen?
I believe that can happen in less than 2 weeks, so by the time we fix the roof, it'll be
So we
done.
can move.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming together nice.
Sounds good.
And will you have the quotes that you were discussing for the roof next meeting, that we could put this on for next meeting?
Yes, I am trying
Thank you.
feverishly to do that.
I know, I'm
but
sorry.
It's hard to find roofers. Everybody lost shingles
Oh,
and
sure,
stuff,
yeah.
so, but yeah.
Well,
Okay?
don't give anybody a permit until they get this thing. It
Oh, golly. Just a joke. That's just a joke, everybody.
was a joke, yeah.
Oh, my
Jim, are you all set as far as,
You're getting good at
do
this.
you have money in your demolition account to take care of this?
Quick-witted.
And possibly a second project?
I do, so with the funding that I had remaining in my demolition account and the special article that was approved, I have all the funding that's needed. Mother Nature has been a deterrent. I actually had another building, which you're aware of, slated for demolition for this week, and the storm put that off again. So I'm doing the very best I can, but
Yeah,
it's just
I know.
been, it's been difficult, so,
Okay.
okay.
Before you go anywhere, I just wanted to say, I apologize, I would have said it last week, but I was not here, I was on vacation. For those who do not know, there was a storm that came out of nowhere, like a couple Fridays ago, and I got a call around 6:30 or 7 p.m. that a tree had fallen on a resident's house. So I went over. I could not do anything, obviously, because the tree was very big. And I just wanted to.
Did not run a chainsaw? No, I didn't think so.
Nobody would let me do that. So I just wanted I thought they were joking. The police officer told me that Jim was coming out, the building commissioner. I didn't believe them. I'm like, in this weather? But you did, and it meant a lot, and thank you so much. And I know you're busy, because if you're going around during a storm
Thank you for
at 8
noticing.
PM at night, oh, we noticed.
I
But
appreciate that.
it was greatly appreciated. And residents, you are in good hands.
Thank
So,
you.
thank
Just
you.
so you know, I